There's actual psychology behind why this keeps happening. Have you ever been in a room with someone who wasn't doing anything? Not talking over people, not making demands, not even trying to stand out, and yet something about them made everyone just a little more careful. That person probably didn't notice the effect they were having. They rarely do. If that sounds like you, this video is going to explain something most people spend years not being able to put into words. Because introverts don't intimidate people on purpose. They just have a way of doing it without trying. Here are 7 signs you're one of them. Sign 1, your silence is comfortable for you and deeply uncomfortable for everyone else. Most people treat silence like a gap that needs to be filled immediately. It's not that they have something important to say, it's that quiet feels like something went wrong. Research published in the journal Psychological Science found that even a few seconds of unexpected silence in a conversation can trigger anxiety in people, causing them to fill the gap, often by saying things they never planned to say. You don't have that reflex. You can sit in silence because you're actually thinking. To you, silence is productive. To the person across from you, it feels like a verdict they don't understand. And suddenly, you're being called cold or intense for simply not performing conversation on command. Sign 2, you don't engage in drama, and that registers as a threat. In most social environments, there's an unspoken rule. The louder your emotions, the more emotionally readable people think you are. Drama becomes proof that someone is predictable and safe. But when you don't react immediately, when you stay calm instead of escalating, people don't know what to do with you. They can't guilt you into reacting. They can't pressure you into matching their energy. And someone they can't predict or emotionally control makes them nervous. One woman learned this firsthand at work. A coworker kept pushing her into small talk and eventually called her boring. She calmly replied, "I'm not your entertainment, I'm your coworker." Not loud, not emotional, just direct. And the other person had absolutely no response to it because confidence without emotional chaos is intimidating to people who rely on emotional reactions. Sign 3, you ask real questions instead of performing conversation. When someone asks, "How are you?" most people expect the scripted answer, "Fine." Small talk is usually less about connection and more about social comfort, but your mind naturally skips past that surface level. You ask one unexpected question, something more real, and suddenly the energy changes. People become more careful with their answers. Later, they describe you as intense, even though you were just genuinely curious. Research on introvert cognition suggests introverts often process information through longer and more complex internal pathways before speaking. What looks like hesitation is usually deeper observation. And when that depth shows up in conversation, people feel exposed before they even understand why. Sign 4, you keep your emotions controlled and people mistake that for not caring. This one cuts deep because the truth is usually the opposite. You may actually feel things more intensely than most people, but you've learned that reacting emotionally in the heat of the moment usually makes things worse. So you stay calm. You respond rationally instead of reactively. You don't raise your voice just because someone else does. And while you think you're being mature and self-controlled, other people sometimes interpret it as emotional distance because they expect emotions to be loud in order to be real.